Hello friends, I'm Nick and this is a little recap of my year on Black Desert Online. I was playing pretty actively in 2022, but then I stopped for a couple months during the summer fishing event. I got really bored of being AFK. I did return back when the Wusa season event came out, so this is a little compilation of what happened. Little backstory for you. I used to main Dark Knight. She was my ride or die till I got really bad wrist and pinky finger pains. Yep, holding Shiv hurts. So I did switch to Lan during that season, since I did read somewhere that her APM was lower. Unfortunately, I was a dodo head. I stayed in her awakening spec for quite a bit until I got to a higher AP and I managed to experience the succession, lower APM. It was great. I started 2022 strong with some treasure hunting. There was a drop rate event, and in my mind, I thought, I want to get challenged. Why not get the archaeological map? Pretty stupid. I went over to Road Sulfur Mines and I got very much carried. I got both of the map pieces in probably less than 30 hours. This is just exaggerating. It was less than 30 hours. However, once I got to Pila Ku, that's when the RNG decided to be a little bit unforgiving. I had a rough time getting the last piece, which was, I think, the Iron Fist water. I took various different rotations. I went to one side and then the other, and it finally dropped when I was watching a Twitch stream. So there's this like weird extension on the bottom right. Yeah. So here's me being absolutely stoked while making the map. I was lining up everything. After 60 or so hours of grinding, I decided to make some progression on my life skill clothes, since I started as a life skiller, and then I tapped a Ted Minnows gathering and then a Ted Minnows hunting clothes, which was an unbelievable experience. So a little time jump happens from here. This is during the next season, which I think it was after Draconia. So here's a little clip to show me participating. I made a Hashashin, which I then timepieced into a Ranger. During the season, I was exclusively parked at Cactums, trying to get more of the pity pieces or the raw drop for the HP pot piece. And then when season ended, I switched back to my main. Since I had all the boss gear exchange coupons I needed, I turned all my weapons into enhanceable Ted boss gear and then started tapping. Some of the event crons I got, I think I never spent much with tapping, so I had like 2,000 over cron stones at that time, and I managed to get my Dandy and Kurzaka to pen. Soaring from that high, I got so much horse awakening materials. I thought, why not? I had cron stones, I had the materials, might as well get a tier 9 horse. And I got a Dream Pegasus at 22 fail stacks, which was extremely forgiving and oh my goodness, very lucky. This is where I started to get really bored of grinding and then tapped. As you can see, there is a pattern. So I had 3 tri accessories and a pretty good Ted stack, and then I managed to one tap my Basilisk belt. Without any bigger stacks, I had to sell the other 2 tri accessories for silver. So at the tail end of the drop rate event and a map in hand, I decided to start grinding for the compass piece. I thought, why not? It should be as easy as the map. Ha ha ha. What a joke. I went to Ackman first because I thought that was only one piece. Get it quick, in and out. Got it in less than 20 hours. And then I went over to Histria, and that's where everyone just gets stuck there. I got the Vodkin piece pretty early. I think it was about 200,000 trash loot. Got the drop, was like, oh my goodness, no, I needed the Elton. I heard stories, I read about them. And since then, it's been how many season events, how many months, I still have not gotten the Elton. We will just keep trucking along. This is where I got a bit sick of constantly buying health pots on my main and that's when I really made the decision to grind for the infinite pot. This is not me saying like I was not grinding for the infinite pot piece at all. I had like season alts parked there. It's just I never made the active decision to like, okay, I need this right now. So after being very frustrated at shurikens, I brought my LAN to shurikens at night and then got the raw drop. It was an unbelievable feeling. I thought it would never happen. What I didn't show is the 77 pity pieces from grinding at shurikens during the daytime. I got extremely unlucky grinding for the other two materials for the infinite pot piece. I had to grind 100 pity pieces for both. The last drops I got were at Kadri for the Bloodwolf Oath and then Crescents for the Tranquil Pity. So here's me making my very first health infinite potion. That's when I started to make some real progression on my gear. I got the Kudum's Heart after defeating multiple Awakened Kudum bosses. I didn't get to show me getting the Karanda's Heart too, but I managed to reform both weapons with it. And then the new year rolled around. This is during the Wusa season event. There's 2 J hammers they gave out for free with the Kelfian Ball event, and I needed a Tet Black Star. I didn't want to tap a Jay's hammer for a boss gear or boss weapon, but I bought it. Thankfully it wasn't too expensive, so I did not have a stack large enough to tap for a pen, so I devoured a few of the Hunger Origins thing you get from the events, which I used it on my 150 stack, which grew it to a 200 stack, I think. And since I thought I was so carried from enhancing my own boss gears, I thought, it's gonna be easy. I'm gonna like 2 or 3 tap it and it's gonna be so great. Yeah, it did not happen. Long story short, I grew the stack, I tapped the stack, and then I went broke. I got desperate. I melted down my premium outfit boxes. It didn't work. I still don't have a pen, unfortunately, and I have a 200 overstack that's being unused. I've not used it since. After the very unsuccessful tapping, I needed to make money, a lot of it. I was broke. So I grinded a lot of Histria, sold a bunch of Tungrat earrings, made more money, and then my brain did that thing where I thought, let's gamble. Let's do it. We need the dopamine. So I gambled again with Manos. Got lucky. I bought a Tri-Manos hoe on the central market, tapped it to 10, and then that's when New Year's rolled in. When the clock struck midnight, I went up to the highest building I could find at Haido, and then I tapped the Beg's Gloves first, and then the Uragons, which went to pen, and it felt so remarkably cool because there was fireworks, there was the Christmas music. It was a superior experience, and now I was left with the last boss gear that could not reach pen, the damn Beg's Glove. This piece of garbage wasted away so much of my cron stones and my memfrags. I think it took about 1500 memfrags, and yeah, it finally went, and it felt so good. It didn't even feel good, honestly. It just felt like, oh goddamn, finally. After the experience, I did not want to go through with my armor piece, so I went with Jatina for it. I felt like it was easier since it was literally my last piece of gear needed, so it felt easier to go with Jatina since I didn't want to continue enhancing anymore. I had no more hope for it, basically. Black Spirit has burnt my hand too much. So I got my materials, I made the pen armor. Since I've never used any Caphras before, I had so much saved up, I immediately C10 my pen armor. Then I was like, okay, what's the next progression for my armor? Fallen God. How do I get there? Turos. Went to Turos, hated it, so boring. And then read that I could just buy the flame from the central market, which I only did after like grinding there for at least 10 over hours. I had like 20 the pity piece, and then I used all my other Caphras that I had saved up and put it into my gloves, put it into my shoes, and then from there was a little time jump where the new season event with Musa and Megu, who were busted as heck. I made a Megu and I parked her at Star's End because I thought, what was the most expensive item that I could gamble, and that's distos for now. And because keep in mind I had a Tet Black Star, so my AP progression was basically stuck there. I was not gambling on any other accessories or making any more gains in terms of AP, so I needed to disto to reach a new bracket. I ended up with about 14 or 15 base distos. I tapped them all. None of them went to duo. Not one. I failed. And I guess in the moment of frustration, I decided to purchase a tri-disto from the market, and I had like maybe 1 or 2 more base distos that I grinded after that whole enhancing session. And in my mind, clouded with despair from losing so much money that I've grinded, and which was basically nothing because it was just distos, I thought that tapping a tri-disto was more sensible than enhancing one. I mean, it couldn't get any more worse than how I was feeling at that very moment. And since then, I'm pretty sure it would have felt horrid if it didn't go, but it did. It went. I got a Tet disto from that. It was so good. And I didn't want to put this clip ahead in the video, but a month later, with I had like 1 or 2 more base distos, I bought another tri-disto during a very emotional day. Okay, I am an emotional person, and then yep, it went through. So now I have 2 Tet distos, and I do not have the DP for it, so that's something to work towards. So after I purchased the flame, I made the Fallen God armor. It was a cool cutscene, made the making of the armor kind of worthwhile and appreciative. Then the enhancing begun. God damn it, I could not for the life of me get it to duo. I didn't want to capture it because I was just so frustrated, but basically I grew a 110 stack all the way to 150 and still no duo to show for it. I'm still a Pri Andy, sadly. What I can show for that 150 stack is that it turned a Tet Manos fluid collector into a pen, which is not very worth because a pen Manos tool is only 16 bill, while a dual Fallen God's armor is like 30 over bill. I know, it just doesn't make any sense, but I am trying to get more Caphras, so that progression made the most sense for me. And seeing that this stack was so cursed, because I'm not showing this, but I've used this stack to try to enhance a green sub weapon. I did tap it a few more times, it didn't go. It's just cursed. I wanted to be rid of it, and I don't want to see that stack anymore. So the most worthwhile thing that it could go pen for, honestly. And since my gearing progression gains have been so great this year, my mind was like, do Manos, gamble on Manos. And you never want to gamble on Manos, but I did it. And I had this whole idea, like I was gonna make 100 Manos necklaces and do this whole video like enhancing 100 Manos accessories, and it would be so cool. I would do like all these profit gains, how many did I tap? And I got impatient. I think it was after like a month and a half or 2 months after saving up all the materials, and I was like, nope, I want to do it right now. I'm bored, I need to tap. And I made like 22, I think, or 23 Manos necklaces, and from that I managed to get a Tet from 3 tries, which was, I think, kind of cool, because I didn't get the whole 100 base experience, but at least it was something. But now that I have made my Tet Manos belt and my Tet Manos necklace, I can start working towards my earrings and my rings. To sum up the year, it is now March, which is when I kind of started grinding in 2022. All I needed was cups to get my pen Jatino ring all fully stacked out. I really love the crit damage add-on for it since I'm playing LAN, and yep, it's all done. And that's about it. So the next few progression goals are a lot larger, and it takes more time and money, and it's gonna be a lot longer. So I think it will be the next big goal will be hitting 290 AP. I think that will be the next cool big bracket for me. Or is it 291? And yeah, hopefully you'll follow me and watch for my next update video. And until then, see you next time.